Tonight, 2 men rescued off the coast of Port Lincoln after their engine fails, and motorists urged to stay safe this long weekend.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. A 95-year-old fisherman and his son were rescued south of Port Lincoln last night after their vessel suffered engine failure. A distress call was made, prompting a marine rescue by emergency services.
Back on dry land after being stranded out at sea for hours, Rob Perkins and his 95-year-old father rescued after their fishing boat broke down.
One motor would turn over and wouldn't start, and then the other one would start and wouldn't go into gear.
The pair from York Peninsula were fishing for salmon near Wedge Island, south of Port Lincoln, just after 4 in the afternoon. When the motors wouldn't start, they tried to radio for help, but to add insult to injury, the aerial fell off, leaving them with no communication.
There was another boat close by and I just lit up an orange flare and they came straight over.
The commercial boat from Port Lincoln, who was also fishing in the area, offered to tow the father and son back into town.
They said they're heading back this way, so they asked me if I need to tow. And I said, well, yeah, I've got to go somewhere, so Port Lincoln will have to do.
But the commercial boat was running on fumes and couldn't afford to bring them back in without being stranded themselves. They called in the State Emergency Service for help.
So we rendezvoused with that vessel and brought the disabled vessel back into Port Lincoln.
I mean, if there was no other boats around, you'd be, really starting to worry.
The father and son caught a bus back to the York Peninsula this morning, leaving their boat here in the marina. They plan to drive a trailer over tomorrow to pick it up. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Broken Hill Police are urging motorists across the region to be safe on the roads this long weekend. Officers say there will be more patrols on duty in an effort to stop dangerous and reckless driving.
Have a good time, but make sure it's a safe time.
Enjoy your long weekend and make sure that your family get to see you and continue to see you, and that you're not going to be one of those fatalities on the roads.
As many prepare to have a quick getaway over the Australia Day long weekend, police want all drivers to get there in one piece. In 2019, 352 lives were lost on New South Wales roads. In SA, the total stood at 113. Across Australia, more than 1,100 people died in car collisions. Inspector Smith hoping no tragedies happen this weekend.
We're targeting speeding offences, tired drivers, mobile phones, seatbelts, helmets for bike riders, all the safety things that we usually target.
Broken Hill officers are warning motorists moving around the Far West region about driving in dust storms. Over the last 12 months, the Silver City has been hit with dozens of the storms, some completely engulfing the town in brown haze.
A lot of East Coast and other coastal areas get rainstorms, which they have to pull over for. But here out in the west, we get dust storms. If you can't see, pull over and just wait. Put your hazard lights on. Just wait until it's past.
Random breath test stations will be popping up across the weekend. Drivers have been warned if they do get behind the wheel under the influence, harsh penalties are in place.
Chances are you're going to get pulled over. We've got lots of police out there right across the Far West, not just here in Broken Hill, but right across our Far West district and across New South Wales, in fact.
Double demerit points are in place in New South Wales across the weekend. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A truck driver has escaped injury after their vehicle carrying hay caught fire in Crystal Brook, causing major delays along Ayr Road just before 1:30 today. Farmer fighting units quickly attended the scene to stop the blaze, which officers say helped prevent disaster.
They started to apply some water to the hay bales that were on fire initially. Crews were here pretty quickly, and then we've managed to get bales that have been affected off by a forklift and make sure everything's been extinguished quickly.
The cause of the fire is still being investigated. Mid-North residents watched the sky turn orange this morning after a dust storm rolled through the area, blanketing Peterborough and surrounding towns and farms. Visibility on the Barrier Highway was reduced to around 200 metres due to the storm. Strong winds from a cold front near Port Augusta are believed to have contributed to the incident. A Whyalla family forced off their land for a defence-based expansion is welcoming a review of compulsory land acquisition laws. The federal government inquiry has been secured by local MP Rowan Ramsey after years of lobbying.
9 years later and still fighting for fair compensation for the Nicholson family, it's been nothing but an ongoing nightmare.
It hasn't been that flash. It's been disappointing and very frustrating.
Their stations were compulsory acquired in 2012 for the Coltana Army Base expansion. After years of negotiations, they're still yet to hear what the government would pay for their land.
Since then, we've been struggling to get the proper compensation for them. So it's been an ongoing struggle with the Commonwealth Government.
A government inquiry will now look into the process following years of lobbying by the member for Grey.
I've been dealing firsthand with those property owners that have been kicked off their properties near Whyalla, where the government has acquired land quite legally but compulsorily, and I think the compensation process is just terrible.
The family had less than 3 months to pack up and leave. All that's left of their centuries-old ownership of the land is a history book and a few sentimental items.
We didn't have long to get off the place, so and we'd been there for, I was the fourth generation, so my children were the fifth. So I've been there for a long time, so it took a long time to pack it up.
Although this review won't benefit the Nicholsons, it's hoped to help future cases.
It's 30 years since this Act was reviewed, and I think last time was probably an improvement on what was there before. The problem is it takes so long.
Hopefully they can get some more certainty for people that get compulsory acquired in the future.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Upper Spencer Gulf mayors prepare for a big 2020 and a new community hub open in Whyalla. Welcome back. South Australia's regional tourism industry has hit a record high, with just under $3.5 billion being spent in our country towns. However, the state opposition says the industry is going backwards, pointing the finger of blame squarely at the Premier.
It's one of regional South Australia's biggest events. According to organisers, the Tunarama Festival attracts more than 20,000 tourists and injects more than $3 million into the Eyre Peninsula every year.
Port Lincoln has become and remains a popular destination for tourists, both intrastate, interstate and international.
The latest state government figures show regional tourism has hit a record high of just under $3.5 billion, nearly half of the state's tourism income.
Tourism has been quite incredible and it really peaked around the festive season here over Christmas and New Year.
But the opposition has hit back, arguing there's been a dramatic decline in international tourists. They're blaming the Premier's decision to cut millions in tourism funding, but local MPs say it isn't a concern.
We have a good number of international tourists in this part of the world. A lot of them come to experience our wonderful coastline, our cultural heritage, our coastal communities.
The opposition says international visitors to South Australia are down by nearly 5%. The Premier now taking over the reins of the tourism portfolio from David Ridgway.
And that really is on the back of significant fires both on Kangaroo Island and in the Adelaide Hills.
But it's not just South Australia feeling the tourism pinch, with international tourists down by 20% across the entire nation, something experts put down to the bushfire crisis.
The key will be getting the numbers in terms of international visitors here as well, and that's going to be a major challenge, I guess, for the nation to get that story out that it's good to come here now.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Upper Spencer Gulf mayors are set to next meet with the Premier in February. The group's chair says the alliance between Port Perry, Port Augusta and Whyalla remains crucial.
The Iron Triangle unites, with 2020 set to be the biggest year yet. Over $15 billion worth of projects are on the go across the region this year.
With every time you network with anybody, you always learn something. So, and I think that's what us three cities are doing. We've got some fantastic CEOs amongst us.
The three mayors are entering their second year on the job. They continue to hold regular meetings with the Premier as they work on developing a 3-year plan.
I have regular meetings with the Premier, and all of our projects, we've honed our projects down to be the most effective.
They say the alliance between the three cities is crucial for jobs and growth development.
Happen in this next 3-year period, and I must say the government has been fantastic about that.
It's stronger than it has ever been, and we look forward to continuing our work together on a regular basis in 2020.
All three cities have big projects planned for 2020 in renewable energy, mining, defence, agriculture and tourism. Their next meeting with the state government only a few weeks away. They've started preparing discussions.
We have one coming up early February with the Premier, which we'll give him an update on the projects that we've got underway at this particular moment.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A second Port Perry man has been arrested and charged following a drug raid earlier this month. Police raided a Gordon Street home on January 4, seizing multiple stolen items, 10 grams of methamphetamine and 4 grams of MDMA. A 36-year-old Risdon Park man was arrested at the scene and will remain in custody until a later date. The second suspect has been charged with trafficking a controlled drug and breach of bail. A new Whyalla community hub run by Hope Collective is now open. The pilot program provides locals with the opportunity to run support programs and connect with community members.
A new initiative offering a safe community space for locals in Whyalla. Hope Collective coming together to run a hub offering creative programs different to other services.
What this hub is going to offer our community is a space, a safe space for them to come, join together for different activities that will be supportive of them.
A lot of the things that we've done through events and other community connections has identified the need for a space where the community can gather and make some social connection.
Last year's Citizen of the Year winner Leslie is passionate about the hub, creating one vision for Whyalla.
Great to be able to, promote Whyalla and be able to promote hope in that space and have people recognise the beautiful city we've got.
The day was filled with free food, popcorn and multiple children's activities, a positive environment for the community to gather.
There's also a wonderful cafe here that's been opened up, so each Thursday this particular facility is going to be open.
With yesterday's soft launch proving to be a success, the hub aims to officially open sometime in February, running programs every Thursday.
When you look at the stuff that people experience in life, the really hard stuff, a lot of it starts from just not being connected or not feeling like you have a place to belong or go to.
Getting different people to work together for the same outcome is just what we need.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us, a Broken Hill Park gets new equipment and funding for community groups now available in Port Augusta. The Picton Oval Management Committee in Broken Hill is inviting locals to use its newly installed gym equipment. They're hoping to secure more in the future, currently applying for state government grants.
A new place to work up a sweat.
We're all very, very excited that we've reached this day.
Picton Oval Committee today unveiling its new gym equipment, a $70,000 project 10 years in the making.
They're nice bright yellow so everyone can see them. And I'm sincerely hoping that all these people that walk around this oval will start using it.
The Oval's gym installations follows on from similar equipment being installed at Sturt Park. But where Sturt Park has all its machines in one spot, the Picton has theirs spread out, with its focus on rehabilitation.
We have a lot of older walkers around Picton, and it was shoulder injuries, knee injuries, heart attacks, recovering, balance as you get older, so it's a start of a step.
Among the equipment, steps to improve balance, spin wheels for shoulder therapy and a pedal with adjusting resistance. The committee is also encouraging juniors to use it.
Picton Oval is basically a junior oval. That's our basic principle for the last 50 years. What we can do for junior sport, and that's what it's about.
The committee is planning to apply for a government grant for Stage 2. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta community groups can now apply for the City Council's events funding program. Applications open today, helping events in ways ranging from cash support to advertising.
For decades, the Port Augusta City Council has provided community events with funds, helping events all around town in a variety of ways. Applications are open to a range of different organisations.
Events like Warfest to advertise that it's happening, to smaller events like the dance groups. We waive the higher fees for our venues so that they can hold their end of year concerts. So it's quite broad in what we do to help with.
Warfest has received support from the funding for roughly 20 years. Organisers say it's a big help.
Without that support, it means we've then got to find that funding from somewhere else, and we might not be able to have as good fireworks display or as good kids entertainment if we had to put that money in towards promotion.
The funding also helping a very festive event in town, the Christmas Tree Festival held in the Institute Theatre. Close to closing their doors for good, the group says the funding helped keep them open.
We'll see if we can get some community funding, and that's what happened, and we've been here ever since.
Applications for the funding open today. Council says these events are part of the DNA of the city, playing a big role in raising the spirits of the community.
The regional events are the backbone of communities at times, and it's really important that these events continue and are supported by councils.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Perry's Tourism Centre is hosting a new exhibition, Have You Met My Sister?, featuring renowned local and international artists. Staff are encouraging the community to take a look.
Colourful pieces capturing the community's attention. This temporary exhibition has been a popular attraction here at the centre.
It includes work by 7 international artists and 1 local art group, Bridges to Nowhere. The artwork is about transfer of stories and knowledge transfer.
Each piece of art holding a special meaning, created with locally sourced materials.
Artwork that the artist made the work out of tulle, so that goes under your skirts, and she replicates her grandmother's tea set.
The girl that made it is very, very interesting, and I just love the story that's behind it. It's about her grandmother and her grandmother's memories, and it's lovely.
With only a few days left, staff are offering guided tours of the exhibition.
It's definitely well worth seeing, and I'm happy to guide anybody through the exhibition if they'd like a tour and a talk so they understand some of the artworks a bit better.
Staff say there's more art to come with recent renovations in the centre.
Real gem in our crown in Port Pirie, this gallery, so we're very proud to look after it and further develop it.
It's very hard to get international exhibitions to the country, and please support the gallery.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Patrick Reinke joins us with Fuel Watch, and we'll have the weather details with Britt. Hello again. Time now to see how things are shaping up at the Bowser. Here's Patrick Reinke with Fuel Watch.
It's actually been a pretty quiet week heading into the Australia Day long weekend. It would be wise to fill up now before prices start to climb. Starting in Port Lincoln, and there's no movement to speak of. The price there still around $1.52. Whyalla is the only Spencer Gulf township to see some green. The Steel City dropping by almost 4 cents, $1.49 the average now. Port Augusta is the most expensive outside of Adelaide, $1.56 going up by a cent from last week. Port Pirie is also on the rise, but not by much. Kadina has the same price as Pirie. They're the cheapest drops going around. Broken Hill down a little bit, Adelaide jumping by 20 cents to now average $1.63. Turning over to diesel figures now, Port Lincoln has stayed the same, Whyalla is a cent less but on the way up. A week of no movement for Port Augusta and Kadina, the price is still around $1.51. The same story goes for Port Pirie, $1.49. A good week for the diesel drivers of Broken Hill, a fall of half a cent sees the average hovering around $1.56. Adelaide rounds out the board with a quiet week. Finishing off with a look at auto gas, and prices have either stayed still or gone up. Port Lincoln, Whyalla and Port Augusta all breaking even, 92, 93 and 99 cents a litre. Kadina has had the worst week, jumping by 8 cents to join Port Augusta. Port Pirie also on the up. Broken Hill is red but not moving much. Adelaide also seeing an increase. The SA capital is now 89 cents. Now remember that these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do find a spot that does sell unleaded auto gas or diesel for cheaper, be sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Weather time now, and it's been a windy old day today. Here's Britt with the latest weather forecast.
Thanks, John, and good evening. Today saw hot and windy conditions about Broken Hill with a top of 38 degrees. Port Augusta reached 36, Whyalla and Port Pirie 32, the latter with areas of raised dust in the early afternoon. Port Lincoln strong winds reaching 19 degrees. Looking at the skies today, and the satellite shows streaks of cloud building up around coastal areas ahead of a front. Let's take a look at tomorrow now. On the waters, westerly winds tending southwesterly at 20 to 30 knots with seas around 2 metres. And we can expect sunrise at 6:30 in the morning with sunset just after 8:30. Mild and mostly cloudy conditions forecast about the area with possible showers over the lower air peninsula. Broken Hill looking at a top of 31 degrees tomorrow. Port Augusta 27, Whyalla and Corn both 26, Port Pirie 25, Kadina a top of 24 degrees tomorrow, Woodna 23, Cleve 22, Clare 20, Port Lincoln 18, Coffin Bay with a top of 17 degrees. Moving further through the week, partly cloudy days ahead at Port Lincoln. Cleve and Woodna both looking mostly fine with sunny conditions forecast for Saturday. Whyalla and Port Augusta both looking sunny Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Kadina mostly fine and sunny on Saturday. Port Pirie and Clare both partly cloudy on Friday with a sunny start to the weekend. Broken Hill with a warm and sunny forecast for the end of the week. And John, after today's wild conditions, I'm looking forward to a much calmer day tomorrow. Back to you.
Thanks, Britt. And that's the local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow night, but until then, have a great evening. On behalf of the team, it's good night.